everybody, hope you're all doing so well. Thank you so much for being here today. We are going to get into our Pat McGrath's Mothership Mega Celestial Divinity palette here. And I have used this a couple times already, but today I think we're going to dive into more of the purples and maybe throw in a little bit of gold. But yeah, I will throw in, I did a whole thing of kind of some dupes for you in case you're looking for dupes, along with just swatches so that you have them. Know that there are quite a few shades within here that are pretty unique for me, that I don't really have a whole lot of things that are different. You have some more kind of duo-y chrome shades, this one up here and this one Dragonfly down here. I think this is Venomous Void over here. So there are some really kind of unique shades, at least for me in my collection. There are some though crossover shades from these smaller little palettes. They're called Eye Ecstasy. This is the Subversive one, and I believe there are, at least this gold is the same, and perhaps this purple is the same as well. And just kind of some similarities. This is a small little palette of 5 shades, as you can see, that you can get from Sephora, I think for $14. And I wanted to get it to try some more of Pat McGrath's shades. Now, from what I have used in this, I can throw up those pictures as well before I show you them swatches. I really love how the mattes blend. The blending of the mattes are very easy, and that's probably my biggest gripe, is that we only have 3 of them in here. A lot of the rest of this is just shimmer, so today I think I'm gonna try playing with only shimmer and seeing how our look turns out. Just because I do think that's something that's becoming more popular, is not using mattes as much as kind of like a base, is using more of just kind of shimmer and letting that ethereal glow just happen all over the eye. So we only have these 3 mattes here, but they all blend beautifully. So I did do a look using those, which I really liked, and some graphic liner. I used kind of one of these shades just as a one shadow look, so I will throw those up so you can just see, and then we'll just kind of play today and see what we create. But yeah, I wanted to bring this to you because Pat McGrath hopefully is still having their Black Friday sale, which is a pretty great deal. I believe it's 25% off if you spend at least $60 or $70, and then if you spend over $100 or $150, then you get 30% off your order. And then if we use a code on top of that, I think I found one off of Honey, which is kind of like an extension like Rakuten or what Ebates used to be, for Obsessed 10, you get an extra 10% off. So I bought some more Pat McGraths. I know, I got a problem and I need to figure it out, but it was a great deal and I couldn't resist. So I had to get some more shadow, which they are coming and they're on the way. But really it was 40% off, which is probably one of the best times that you could get things like this. So if you're interested in trying it, they also do have these little palettes on her website along with on Sephora. And these are some beautiful shades. There's one that's a bit more neutral and then one that has a bit more color. The packaging, I don't understand why they went with such cheapy plastic. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but you know, whatever. It was only $14, which I think is a very fair price for 5 of her shadows, even if the packaging is junky. It's still the shadow that I like and am concerned with, but she is selling these 2 as the pack for $28 on her site as well. So that's something to think about, to look into, along with this palette, which we will finally dig into as my mouth just shuts up. All right, so let's get going into them swatches.
All right, so here we have a whole arm of the swatches of the palette, and really just some really pretty shades in here that I don't have in my collection, and you can really see the shimmer and kind of the glitz of these shades, which is not something that I have in a lot of my other shimmers. First is Saturnina, and we kind of have a dupe here with Ray from an Alter Ego palette. The other one's a little bit too kind of pinky magenta in my opinion. Next up though we have Bronze Nebula, which I think most people are going to have this shade. Nothing super crazy about this, just a beautiful bronze, but most people probably have something very, very similar to this. Major Mahogany is a really beautiful, deep, kind of brown plum shade, and I think it just blends out so, so beautifully on the eye. Next is Lunar Champagne, which isn't quite as bright as the dupe that I found, but tonally I bet a lot of people have a shade kind of close to this. Next is one that I truly love and am just kind of one of my favorites from the entire palette. I love this kind of blue purple shade, and we do kind of have a dupe there. Gold Standard is one that I had from a different Pat McGrath palette, and they perform the same, but just a really bright kind of yellow gold. Next is Venomous Void, which really is a nice plum kind of deep matte shade. People might have this in their collection, though. I had quite a few palettes with something similar. Odyssey is a really unique shade to me. I love the undertone. I love when it kind of catches the sparkle on the light of the light. It's just really, really pretty kind of lilac. Fuchsia Shock is a color I do not have at all anywhere in my collection, so I kind of just threw something close next to it, but I just think it's absolutely stunning. Next is Megabyte, which is a beautiful kind of green moss color. Have actually some pretty close dupes there, but the sparkle on Megabyte is really, really pretty to me. Bronze is another one where I think a lot of people probably have something similar. It's nothing spectacular, but it's still a beautiful shade. Then here we have Electron, which has some really pretty kind of blue magenta-y sparkle in here, and something kind of similar but not the same depth as what the Pat McGrath shadow has. Cosmic is really, really sparkly comparatively to the other shades here, and I really love kind of the glitz within that shade. Next up is Smoked Amethyst. I don't really have matte shadows with the sparkle in like this, but I was able to use this in the crease and the look today, and it turned out beautifully. Next is Dragonfly, and this is a really stunning kind of duochrome shade. I only really have one that's a more green kind of version, but I certainly don't have a dupe for this. One of my favorites. Venetian Orchid, really pretty kind of just light pink shade. Nothing quite exactly like that shade in my collection. Then Lunar Champagne and Galactic Gold are the two most similar in the palette to me. I mean, they're pretty close. One that I could have skipped. Corruption is a much deeper red than what I have anywhere else and has more of a bronze or brown undertone, but really does have a pretty shift. So yeah, there you go.
First, I'm going to prime my eyes. I am a fan of eyeshadow primer. If you don't know, now you do, but I do think primer helps. All right, so for digging into this palette does have a beautifully large mirror. It's a little weird because it's got these ribbon bands to hold it, but I kind of want to put like my thumb here, and the band kind of gets in the way of my thumb. Yeah, I'll just kind of put it underneath. I don't know, just a note, I suppose. And it is heavy. Not like extremely heavy, but it is a hefty, weighted feeling palette. So I think we're first gonna go into, let's see, what is she called? We are going to go into Odyssey, which is very sparkly here. We're just gonna tap and put some right into kind of our crease area and see what happens. Just gonna play and see. All right, so I have blended out Odyssey, and you can definitely see kind of the gray cast of the shadow, which is fine with me for right now, because I was looking for more of that kind of just to build and see what we would get. I think I'm now going to go into Violet Void, and put that, do I do like a halo eye with this gold? Hard for me to tell what I want to do, or I just build out and just have gold coming in. Maybe I'll do that because I kind of feel like I just did a halo eye. So I'm going to pack on, I think, some of that color all maybe halfway, going almost to 2/3 of the way into my lid, and pack on that color, and we'll see what that looks like. That's a super blue-based purple, really kind of a deeper blue, and then there is more of like a magenta kind of sparkle or reflect, but I'm gonna take more of a blending brush and I'm gonna blend out my edges. just from whatever product is left on. You can see it's blending out almost more as just like a deep navy black, really. Yeah, like really interesting how once it's blended out, it looks almost black. How deep the pigment is within that shade, which I guess when I kind of turn the palette, I can see that probably most of the pigment is a very deep purple black shade. I think I'm gonna go into Smoked Amethyst. Just take a really little bit of that and put it right into the corner, because that's really gonna deepen everything up, because that I think is more of a true black and has purple reflect. Just building up a bit more depth, but I think we'll keep this eye a bit more constrained and tight and not blow it out too much. But I do want to go back into the Odyssey shade and go and buff out the edges again, just because we have that darkness that we can really blend out. All right, now I definitely think I'm going to clean up this bottom part here before I put on the rest of my face, just as a note, because there is quite a lot of that sparkle that kind of fell down and I don't want that dragging down the eye. But I am gonna go in with this, I think it's, what is it, Gilded Gold? Gold Standard, which is the gold that is also in this little palette, and put that on this inner portion and then kind of blend the two, the Gilded Gold and the Violet Void together, and then pack on more of Violet Void. Whew. Yeah, that's gold. Is it bad that I always think of sports teams? Like, we got Raven colors going on. Now, I definitely want to make sure that purple is kind of brought in a little bit more on top. So I want to get a bit tinier of a brush here and just take some of the purple and kind of drag it the Violet Void, just because I want it to connect through here. Kind of more as just like a pop of the gold, and I might go in and kind of just intensify and make it a bit more of like a rounded gold shape that's coming in. Now it's more my edge here, and I think I might need a bit more depth, so I think I'm going to go in with a bit tighter of a crease brush, go back into this deepest amethyst, smoked amethyst color. Just pack on a little bit more. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is giving me definitely Ravens vibes, but also pansies. My grandmother loved pansies, and that yellow purple combo definitely makes me think of them. But I'm going to clean up this whole area with just a makeup remover wipe, put down the rest of my face, and I'll bring you back in for that lower lash line. All right, everybody. So I think we're just going to finish out the lower lash line with pretty simple. Go in and take the Violet Void and smudge it underneath, and then we'll maybe take a little bit of the True Gold, Gold Standard, and maybe bring that in a little bit. But I'm basically just gonna have that purple kind of running underneath. Then I think lastly, just to finish it out so we don't have such a stark contrast, take our Odyssey shade and buff that out underneath the eye. I'm gonna try to put a gold into the waterline, see if she looks good or not. So I put the gold in the waterline, and I'm just using Eldorado from Urban Decay. And it's kind of funny because at certain angles you don't see it, and then at others I feel like, bam, you see the gold. So let me pop on my lashes and we will close this on out. All right, everybody, so here we are with our finished little look, our, I don't know, what do we want to call it? Ravens, Lakers, Mardi Gras, whatever you want to call it. We got ourselves a gold and a purple look, mainly using none of the mattes in here, which I think is kind of nice because when you look at the look, it does kind of look like, oh, is there a matte in there? But you do see the shimmer of everything of that Odyssey shade. So it is kind of interesting. I do think there's a lot more you can do with this than what you see on the surface. Like, I look at this and I'm like, can I make as many looks out of this? But I really think this is actually a very versatile palette. They don't really have blue. Like, the closest blue I think is what I got on my eye with that purple. But I do think there's just a lot of really fun, pretty things. I don't know if you can see that shift in that dragonfly color is stunning. Up here, the one, what do we call this? Electron, that one has a shift as well. So I think this is really worth a good amount of money, because I think it's $76-ish, and you're getting 18 shadows from Pat McGrath. I think it's a good deal. I really do. And I think these shimmers are so easy to use and so easy to blend that it makes the looks look more expensive without as much effort. Like, you really don't have to try hard to get a look like this. It's really something very simple, which is what I really love. When you play with good shadow, you really start to be able to, I think, let the artistry show through more than, oh, I really gotta finesse and tweak this technique. Like, you're able to do things a little bit more simply just because you don't have as much that you need to worry about to make it look as good or as cohesive. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. I definitely suggest, if you got the money or if you know somebody who loves shadow, they would definitely appreciate this. If you don't have the money to spend on this, even getting one of these for $14 off of Sephora, or getting both of them $28 off of Pat McGrath, those I think are a great introduction to Pat McGrath shadows, and it's just something, it feels very luxury. When you swipe on those shades, you're just like, wow, like, these are stunning. I mean, they are just really beautiful. And I think there's a reason she's so high priced. It is, the quality is there. The quality is definitely there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you on the next one. Wherever you are and whatever you may be doing, I hope you're able to do something you love every single day. All right. Bye.